Hello to you, my beautiful, beautiful friends. I'm so happy to see you. I'm sorry I'm late. You're going to find out why I'm late in a second. But first, let me just give you a deep soul greeting. And by that, I mean from the eternal quantum state that is underneath all of my karmic chakric systems, down below the muck and the many astral taints that wrap around the throbbing scrote of my soul. Quote W.B. Yeats. I want to say I love you, and I'm so glad that you're here. It's a wonderful thing that we, for a little while, still have access to this technology. It's a wonderful thing that the monolithic power structures that exist out there and would very much like us not to be chatting with each other have yet to devise a way to truly pull this incredible tool from our hands. I'm sure the gods wanted to yank fire from humans when Prometheus made his fatal error, one of the greatest errors of all time. And I have no doubt that somebody told Jesus to shut the fuck up many, many times when in his early 30s, whenever he disappeared. But friends, we will not be stopped. If you were here with us last week, you know what happened. We were shut down. We got slap shutted. Code red. They took us out. Josh was talking about how Noah's Ark was actually an ancient corporation from an ancient civilization. Which I accept. I think that's fairly accepted now. After the pandemic, we all know that. But within moments, like cutting the head off a snake, like stepping on a feeding tube, running into the stomach of a saint in some hospital by a church. Those invisible, we don't know who they are. I have my guesses. An invisible cabal of unknown elites, probably coastal elites, press the cancel button on the DTFH. Well, we looked into it. We wanted to see what had happened. We checked all our tubing systems. We had a full examination of Comedy Frequency's podcast studio, including a scan for any kind of nanobots in the walls. I actually confronted one of my mini gang stalkers, and that's where I found out what had happened. It wasn't so much that Josh was talking about Noah's Ark as an ancient corporation. It was that neither of us are certified experts. And I got on a long phone conversation with somebody from the deep state about it. And, of course, I was like fiery in the beginning of the conversation. I said to him, I really don't think that podcasters present any kind of real danger to you, or that this, whatever the fuck it is you guys are freaked out about, it's really a danger in the world. I said to him, look, I think it's a little condescending to imagine that Americans, global citizens, whoever the fuck is watching any given podcast, aren't smart enough to recognize that we might not know exactly what we're talking about. And this tone came on the phone. It was really weird. It sounded like birds flying out of cathedrals, sounded like bells, sounded like the ocean, sounded like the end of things, the beginning of things, the unfolding of a flower, the first flap of a monarch butterfly's wings as it pumped blood into its wings. It sounded like a crinkle of time space, or Kris Kringle. It sounded like my friend Kris Kringle, who I went to high school with and was mauled by a black bear. You can look it up. It sounded like when he got mauled by a black bear, and that sound haunts me to this day. And this is probably a different podcast altogether. Talked about it many times before, but truth or dare, uh, truth or dare. I'm not sure that should be a nationally celebrated game because he dared me to suck his dick, and I did. And then we're up in the woods, and I felt weird about that because like there was money on the line, and a black bear just lumbered by, and I said, "I dare you to go suck that bear's dick." And yeah, the rest is history. And you would think the bear wouldn't attack somebody who was trying to bring it such, just make it feel good, but they don't see it like that. The bear looked scared and confused and then just attacked. It was horrible. But it was a mother bear. That was the other thing, is because when he got under the bear, he's like, "There's no dick here." That was his last words. Now, to get back to the point, after this conversation, I realized that the critique that I have seen online of myself and many other podcasters is a good critique. Most of us are not experts. Most of us have not been certified in many of the things, the fields that we like to talk about. I love to talk about physics, and I'm not a certified physicist. I love to talk about politics, geopolitics, history, technology. I love to talk about uh, math stuff. I love to talk about AI. I love to talk about Buddhism and religion and mysticism. And I love to just sort of try to wrap my mind around some of the many confusing issues that we all are confronting on a daily basis. Um, and this beautiful, beautiful planet, our mother, on the planet, I should say. Some of us are in it though. Yeah, I do believe in deep underground military bunkers. That that's beside the point. The point is, first, an apology for anything I said in any episode of my podcast that I did not have certification to talk about. I am sorry. I know that people, when they tune into a podcast on YouTube, they're going there because they want real information. They're going there because they're seeking to understand. And after talking to this guy from the deep state, he said, like, a lot of y'all they just think you guys are dumbasses. And he's like, they're just so dumb and they just go on YouTube. He did a terrible imitation of all of you. He's like, they're, I don't know. I mean, I didn't see him. It's just what he sounded like. And so, yeah, I know that's you guys, though. Yeah, you could like pick up a book or go to a library or whatever. There's so many like data sources out there. I know that probably the primary mechanism of, hold on, I gotta make sure I'm reading this shit right, like they told me to. The primary mechanism with which people are gathering data right now is from YouTube videos, specifically YouTube videos where dudes ramble about current events. Because of this, it is very important that we do everything in our power to not spread misinformation. The spreading of misinformation is one of the most dangerous things threatening our country right now. Because of misinformation, people are making decisions that could lead to actual harm for them or their loved ones. And spreaders of misinformation could also experience negative impacts based on their decisions, including unknown impacts that many of us don't have any control over. And those who do spread misinformation, if they would like the protection of the deep state, should read this apology. And if they read this apology on their podcast in a sincere way, we can guarantee that their podcast will not be canceled and that we will not do anything to them or their loved ones. Oh, shit. Delete the last four. I I was not supposed to read that part.
We're live though.
Guys, just delete if you guys just recorded this or anything, please delete that last I don't know how many lines there were. Just the thing that seemed like a threat. I wasn't supposed to read that. So all that being said, friends, I spent this weekend with Josh getting certified as an expert. And I want to show you something I'm very proud of. But first, I'm going to present this to Josh. You left the fucking certificate at the seminar, dude.
Thank you.
You got, well, it was wonderful being there with you, man. It was a lot easier than I expected to. Check it out. Not cheap, though. Not cheap. Check it out, friends. Look at this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, isn't it beautiful? I am now a certified expert. Show them yours, Josh. You can take the hoodie off now.
Yeah. No, I thought I had to because they took Comedy Frequency down off YouTube.
I know. You can, it's back up and everything. You sent him a picture of that.
Okay.
Isn't that cool?
Thank you.
Josh is now an expert. I am an expert. Let me see here. I'm an expert in physics, computing, history, art, geopolitics, philosophy, etc. At the seminar we went to, they ran out of room on the certificate. They would have put more stuff. But yeah, so etc. just pretty much means everything. But this was a really intense seminar, and like I totally understand now why it's important that only experts talk about stuff. And that's where I want to talk to you about something coming up from the DTFH. I am so excited to announce this that I am shaking. The DTFH is about to start its own online university. Now, what that means is that if you're out there and you want to be part of the war against misinformation, if you're out there and you want to be on the right side of history and you don't want to say something without being certified to say it. In other words, if you're a good person, but maybe you don't have the $100,000 a year or however much it costs to go to one of the big certification universities. Well, guess what? I am creating a safe space for all of you wisdom seekers out there who also would like certification minus massive debt. Because right now, a lot of the big certification universities, as it turns out, because I did a big analysis on this, the paper that they print the certificates on is insanely expensive. Everybody thinks it's the classes. And why wouldn't the classes be expensive? Why wouldn't you pay $100,000 a year to hear a guy talk about medieval art? I mean, it does make sense. But as it turns out, those people, the certified experts who are part of the certification program of the certification facilities, don't like, if you look at the money the certification utilities make versus what the certifying, they call them certifiers, professional certifiers or professors. That's what professor stands for, professional certifiers. They don't get like the cut you would expect, even though they're the ones that are sort of what I thought was the reason people go to the certification areas. But as it turns out, it's the paper. It's some kind of micro scanned spider filament from this very rare and very poisonous spider. This shit is insane. You know, they get silkworms from caterpillars. Or no, they get silk from silkworm they get silkworms from, oh God, those fucking rifts in the Amazon, those weird wormhole things where they have to pluck them out. These spiders are fucking deadly. They come from Australia. We've all seen the video where someone like smashes the spider eggs and spiders go everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
These fucking spiders lay one egg every 5 fucking years, which is one of the theories of why they're so incredibly poisonous. They are so poisonous that they don't even have to bite you, apparently. Like they have a glare to them. And apparently even looking at a picture of them can poison you, can kill you instantly, which is why you haven't heard about this. Or seen a picture of these spiders. They keep them in hermetically sealed chambers underneath all certification areas and wait for them to spin a web, which takes these spiders a year to complete one web. And it is from this web that they create the paper that goes into the diploma. And that is why. So if you're somebody who's like overburdened by student debt right now, you're kind of looking at your prospects and you're like, wait a minute, I'm like $150,000 in debt. I know I can only get this thing deferred like maybe a couple more years, and the entire like landscape of industry has changed and seems to be heading directly towards none of us having jobs, meaning like shouldn't like if these places that were charging me so much money to get these certifications, if they were really experts, wouldn't they have sort of identified that what I was paying for might not serve any real purpose in a few years? But that no one could have predicted AI. No one could have predicted full automation. Not 10 years ago, 15 years ago. No one had any inkling, no sense that in late stage capitalism, there'd be like incredible market pressure to create some kind of automated system that eliminates human labor. Nobody ever said that or thought of it or predicted it. And so that's why I'm sure they would have happily. And I'm sure now people who are enrolling in colleges, I'm sure now are probably told right out the gate, like, listen, if you kind of look at where things are going, it's going to be full automation. You might want to go into a trade school or something like that, because any sort of information-based job is going to be irrelevant within 5 or 6 years. I guarantee they say that like when they're recruiting kids and stuff. Like if you want to come and just learn, like classic, the classic humanist reason for learning. If you want to come with no profit motive, if you're comfortable getting hundreds of $1,000s in debt to go to what is essentially an intellectual country club, I mean, you're gonna fuck. You're gonna get high. You're gonna have definitely gonna fuck a lot. Probably you're gonna like suck on some Birkenstock clad feet, and it's gonna feel good. But will it be useful in the world? No, probably not. And I don't know if that's happening. But anyway, I wanted to find a way to kind of jump around the whole destroy your life with debt for a piece of paper thing, which, by the way, I'm not bashing any of these people, because these fucking spiders, like apparently like 20 to 30 people at the Ivy League schools especially die each year working with these spiders. And they don't talk about it. They don't, but these fucking diplomas they're getting, when you get that diploma, my God, it must feel like, they say when you touch the diploma, it's almost worth it. They say when you touch that, these are just regular paper.
Oh,
Sorry, man. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get at here. By having to harvest spider webs from a deadly arachnid and just using paper from Office Depot, I have eliminated 99.9% of the expense that universities are putting out there to get the certificates. So when you go to my online university, we'll make more announcements soon. You're not going to have to take a bunch of classes. It's going to be one 5-minute YouTube video. It's going to be the honor system. I'm going to trust that you watch the video. And then for a mere $500. Now, I know that sounds insane. That does seem expensive. Like t-shirts are $30. Most merch isn't that much. But when you look at it, what's the average cost of attending college, Josh? Can you pull that up?
Public is about 15,000
$15,000 a year?
a year.
Okay. And then what about
Private can go up
private
to
school?
60. 35 to 51.
Oh, now if you're going to be, you're going to be in there for 4 years. That's potentially $200,000. for a private university. What was the public schools? If you can even get in, by the way.
Yeah, I still owe 58,000 to DeVry.
Great school. Now, 11,044K.
That's if you live in the state.
If you live in the States, that's 44K. So when you consider that you could just skip all that bullshit, you're going to get access. You're going to get a link to a private YouTube video. It's very intimate. It'll just be you and me hanging out. And I'm going to give you my lecture on everything. I have condensed it to 5 minutes. It was 10 minutes, but I cut it in half thanks to AI, which is fucking cool. Cut out the fat. And upon graduating, which will happen when you finish the video, and again, this is the honor system. I'm trusting that you care enough about learning that you're going to watch my clip. You're going to just fill out a brief form, and you will receive a certificate of expertise with a blue ribbon. And you only get these if you do you don't get this. Like, blue ribbon is first place. So that's real.
Are there higher tiers? Like, let's say you want to get a higher certification, or is that the highest certification?
Okay, that's bachelor. I mean, that's the entry level certification. This is going to make you an expert on pretty much everything. But some people, they're not happy with just being certified as an expert. They want to become certified certifiers. And this is where it gets really good. For another $150, you can watch my video on how to certify experts. You can only do this when you get your expert certification. If you don't have this shit and you're trying to certify experts, then you're a fraud, a charlatan, and you're part of what's wrong with this world. Once you get my $150 certificate, you can watch one more. Again, it's honor system, shorter video. This one's 2 minutes. Basically, it's like how to print stuff at Office Max.
It's important.
Yeah. And then you will be able to start your own university. And this could be potentially a career for you. This is a career path, meaning that for a total of $300, basically like 1% of what you would pay to go to any of these other certification areas, you can not only become an expert with proof. Again, let me just point this out. That is a blue ribbon.
That's real blue ribbon.
Show them your blue ribbon so they kind of see the value here.
Mine's in Bitcoin and breastfeeding.
Yeah. And those are important topics that people are like really interested in right now. And breastfeeding is like babies. One of the things that really bother me is like babies haven't been certified, and this is down the road. But I do want to create like a certification program for infants so that they can, once they breastfeed or whatever it is, we'll come up with it. But I don't like the idea of uncertified babies.
Yeah. Instead of, because they might lose that paper, maybe a stamp or a branding. That way you know that they're certified.
Yeah. And that branding baby skin is actually apparently like a lot easier. You don't have to use as much heat.
No.
Now, and again, that's my, I just want to save for you. I don't like, because, we all know that the consumer carries the cost. But also they did figure one thing out, which is really important, which is the birth certificate. And I applaud whoever came up with that. Because, just think about this. There was a time, I honestly, I've shuddered to think about this. But there was a time on this planet where the baby would come into the world and would not receive certification. Did you know that? No birth certificate. No fucking birth certificate. Think of that.
Yeah.
Think of what that felt like for Christopher Columbus, who was certified at birth, to like stumble upon God knows how many people. And probably when he saw them, he's like, can I see the birth certificates for some of these kids? Like, and they're like, what are you fucking talking about? He's like, the certificate to show that these are official babies and nothing, had nothing. You read his journals and he apparently went back on the ship and just wept for days. Like he couldn't believe it. Mind blown, mind scrambled.
How do you even feel like a person without the 9 digits tied to your name?
The social security number.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what you feel like, insecure.
Yep.
That's why it's called social security.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't even imagine what that would feel like to be walking around the world without that beautiful number that I feel so lucky to have. And I feel so lucky to be a certified baby. And now I am a certified expert on physics, computing history, art, geopolitics, philosophy, etc. The etc. means everything. And my guess is there's going to be a waiting list for this once people catch on.
People on the chat already want to know how to get certified.
See, this is what I love about y'all. I look out at the world and I see the product of that level of curiosity. I see I have goosebumps right now. The that thing in you that right now, I'm sure you're feeling it in the same way birds fly south for the winter, north for the summer. The way the baby turtle upon hatching knows to go to the sea. The way that like my wife can find a target without GPS, even not knowing the area.
That's crazy. Mine does that too.
Yeah. That's your soul. That's what makes the compass point to north. That's what makes Santa Claus know where the chimneys are. That is your soul. And just, we're gonna reveal it right now. There's obviously a lot of I gotta get the website up. So there's some work involved. One pager. But just in that feeling that you have right now is the reason we have electricity. That feeling you have right now is the reason that there's probably a plane flying above you right now. That feeling that you have right now is the reason some of the most beautiful women on our planet went up into space, brave, courageous space ladies. Because that's the feeling of civilization. And also, right now, for those of you who aren't certified, you're probably starting to feel the same thing Adam and Eve felt when they ate the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. They knew they were naked. Adam, he looked down and was like, what the fuck? Everyone can see my dick.
He didn't know what shrinkage was, and then now with evil, he understood.
Exactly, because he had just sort of I don't know, he probably just didn't notice his cock or something, and then suddenly just there it is for the first time, bush too. They had to. They had to have a hairy bush. They didn't shave their pubes in the Garden of Eden.
Mm-mm.
Do you think they did? They didn't do that.
No.
Why? Why would you do that? That's after you eat the fruit. That's probably the first thing they fucking did after they ate that fruit and got kicked out.
Yeah, that's how God found out Eve had a landing strip on top.
He's like, what the fuck is that? I had to. I don't want some fucking nasty old oily rat's nest down there. So she shaved it. And there's a real sense of not good nakedness in not being certified. Because now I didn't even know that. But now that I have this beautiful certificate, I can't explain it. It's like, a lot of people who have tried heroin or fentanyl, they say, it was like I was laying in the cold my whole life and someone wrapped a warm blanket around me. And I think that's a pretty good description of getting a certificate. Like, I just feel like I matter. I feel like I mean something. I feel like I can talk now. And what's even better, Well, I mean, look, anybody out there want to make a statement? Will an
Uh,
uncertified person say anything?
Rick says, "Can you blue ribbon certify us in the most important art, the art of making love?"
Absolutely, Rick. Rick, a romantic is here, uncertified romantic, but which is dangerous. But yeah, Rick, uh, there's a place for everybody at my university, and I do think romance, like uncertified romantics, are pretty much the most dangerous thing out there.
Mhm.
Fucking freaks me out. Think one day someone certified romantic might want to go to the prom with my daughter. I don't want to think about it, but yeah, that's the etc in this. The etc means romance, whatever. Anybody want to say a fact? Who isn't certified? Is anyone saying any facts? I want to show you the power of this.
Oh, some person says certs give you delusion of
Ah!
grandeur.
Thank you. Okay, watch this. Schlitz O Freak says, "Sir, can you enlarge that? Don't you have that ability?" Let me just show you guys what you do with the certificate. Look at this. Watch this. We used to be able to do that. Maybe they took it away from us. It doesn't matter. You guys can find it in the chat. Schlitzo Freak says, "Yeah, and I'm calling you out, Schlitzo Freak. And you're self-banned for 2 minutes. Do not type anything for 2 minutes. Self-ban." Schlitzo Freak is not certified. But Schlitzo Freak, read it and weep, bitch. Look at that. So no matter what the fuck you're saying, it doesn't mean anything. Where's your certification, man? You don't have it. So it doesn't mean anything. No matter what you say, it doesn't mean anything. Oh, you poor uncertified fool. Ha! You could do that with anybody. Take this to your family dinners. Take this to your family dinners. Guaranteed somebody is not certified. And maybe they do have a certificate from one of the bigger certification universities. It's not going to have an ETC in it. It's not going to have an etc. So yeah, they might be certified as like this or that, some kind of like specialist, but it's not going to encompass the totality of all information. And so that's a big STFU, motherfucker. You can bring this. We might get wallet size certificates eventually. We're going to start with this, see how much money we can raise. I'm working to see if we can get some federal grants to help fund the university. But there's a lot of programs out there. The federal government will give you a lot of money to help spread positive information. So we will let you guys know on the next solo podcast when that's going to happen. I do want to point out these certificates will come in a royal blue certificate holder to keep it safe. My recommendation to you would be to probably like photocopy it or something to make sure you have a backup. But yeah, this will be here too. And I am looking into other certificates. Like we might do our own birth certificates. If you have a baby and don't want to go through the state certifying your baby, if you send us a picture of your baby, we will certify that is a baby, and that should work.
You got a good question here. Did the first person get to certify themselves?
Okay, Dakini, I love the question, but can I ask you, do you have any kind of certification?
Oh, that's true.
It's an interesting question. I really would like to know that, Dakini, if you're certified, because it's sort of like your question is infinitely less important to me if you can't produce some kind of proof that you've been certified in some way.
Cold fission.
Thanks for
Clancy.
the tips, y'all. This is great.
I'm an animator and I'm planning on doing an animated basic on the Midnight Gospel.
An animatic based on the Midnight Gospel for its 5th anniversary.
Yeah.
Save that guy's data there, Josh. I don't know if you can do that. Cool, man. I want to see it. See if we can reach out. I want to see it. I want to see what tech are you gonna be using for that? Thank you, Gary. Ram. Bob Francis says he's a certified banger. Me too. I mean, I'm pretty much certified in all things now. Okay, here we go. Looks like we have look at this. The Stinjitsu says certification is institutionalized recognition. What? Curious if Duncan thinks recognition should be decentralized. What? Or if only institutions can. Did you just jump in here, Stinjitsu? Do I only think yes? Are you? What you think? Oh my. Okay, so here we go. This is why we got to get people certified, friends. This gentleman is making the preposterous statement, and this is preposterous. And I've read it from other people too. And every time I read it, the first time I read it, I got physically ill. I read it in David Graeber's Bullshit Jobs, and I found that fucking book, airport bathroom, and you could tell like someone was like taking a shit and read it and was just like, this, I can't believe that I'm reading this, and threw it. Like you just see the anger. Someone threw the book over the stall and yelled, this is fucked. And I caught it at the urinal. I'm just like, it was like one of those lucky coincidences. And then I had a little time, went to the Sky Club. Yeah, I go there. And I read it. Now, Graeber said something. Let's see if I can even remember. It's like trying to remember it's trying to remember monkeys hooting at the zoo. Like, going to the zoo and remember, like, what did they say? So he said something along the lines of this. He said, God, honestly, I'm feeling nauseous even repeating it. But basically what he said is that because the federal government gives out loans to get certification from institutions, this is like a kind of enslavement or some bullshit like that. That like the federal government gets out loans so you can get a certification to make money doing some task or another, but you're still in debt to the federal government, meaning that you've basically become a vassal of the state just so you can have a job. And that any kind of system where the federal government is entangling itself around people so that they can make money is probably not the best system. Or let me see what other bullshit he said. Some other nonsense about some liminal gray area between politicians and people who end up working for big universities or, private corporate. I'm so sick of this hippie shit. Some bullshit about how, you're not going to keep your job in the federal government that long if you're a politician. So probably the decisions you're going to be making are going to serve one institution or the other. And basically meaning that there really isn't much of a separation between the federal government and the university system. They're somehow related or via funding or some shit like that. I don't remember. Honestly, I threw the book back in the bathroom. I read that while I was walking out of the bathroom of the Sky Club and threw it in, and another dude caught it. And I hope he hated it too. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, what I think. What else do we got?
Also, before the live started, they came up with a name, Duncanites. They wanted to be called Duncanites.
Duncanites? Who's they?
At least 15 people within the chat.
Well, look, I don't want to. Now, see, this is the problem because now we got the Duncanites, and then this could create some kind of division within the community. Like, what happens if other people want to be called other things? Then the Duncanites, we don't know what you represent, or what are you guys going to do compared to the other? I like Duncan's Munchkins, Brooklyn. And then what are the Duncanites sound militant? The Duncanites sound like they fuck shit up. I mean, I guess that could be sort of like the military branch of what we're creating here. Now, Dakini, I don't mind certificants. Maybe that's something we could do is like a certified cunt. Yeah. Like if you want just like, you don't want any of the other bullshit, you know what I mean? Like if someone calls you a cunt, you could be like, yeah, no shit. I'm certified.
A trustler.
Trustler. That, I don't know about, that sounds like a job at a slaughterhouse. I don't know about that. Somebody who like has to rip the balls off of pigs.
Duncaneers?
Now, I don't mind. I like the Duncaneers. Listen. the main thing is this. You could, once you get certified from my university, you could name yourself whatever you want. You'll be certified. You do have to deal with the fact that prior to receiving certification, pretty much anything you say is irrelevant in the face of certified people. And I don't want to get political here. That's not me. But I'm going to get a little political here and just say, I don't know if people without some kind of certification, and I don't mean like ID, I mean like actual certification, some knowledge base, should be allowed to vote.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like they can vote, but not for like important things. In other words, we could have like votes for the president, votes for, whatever, federal government shit, state government shit. And then y'all could vote on some bullshit like what should be the like in the new Happy Meal, or I don't know. You know what I mean? Fun stuff, but still, not what the adults in the room. And let me tell you guys, we need adults in the room right now. We need adults in the room because we have got a mess on our hands. And what has happened is that people who used to have to get certified to run a radio station, you know that?
Yeah.
You couldn't just sit in front of a microphone and fucking say shit. You had to get some kind of license. And then you could say shit on the radio and people listened. And if you said like 4-letter words, you would get fines. And that was a good time. And then, so now any fool can go stumbling out of his bouncy house and just grab a microphone and just say whatever. And it's causing war. It's causing war. Look at the world right now. Look at what's happening all over the world right now, friends. You think that's happening because of I don't know, people in government? No. That's happening because doofuses are running amok. Uncertified people are having uncertified fucking opinions. All right, let's move on.
Get your certification.
More information. I'm sorry. I got really upset. You're going to get more information soon, but we're going to be on top of it. Let me just show another thing too that's really important. If you have a plain journal, what are you writing in there? You need a floral journal. This is the worst, dude. When you're like at the airport and you just want a fucking notebook to write in because you need to get some thoughts down, and like all they have is this shit, and you have no choice but to buy whatever a codex. Like this is a real like mess in the world right now because I don't know who the fuck feels like they need to write in something that you should find underneath urns in a cave. Like, please, whoever's doing this, just give us the option of unlined, non-hardcover. Like, why do people at airport bookstores feel like who do they think is walking through the airport? Benedictine like monks? You think I need to transcribe a Bible here? I just wanted to write some notes down. But now anytime I fucking pull this out, I look like just the biggest asshole on earth.
I don't think it's the book. I think it's the feathered pen that you use when you write in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's all about the pen. If you wrote with a regular pen, but you take out ink and then you dip it, and it's like, we're at an airport.
And listen, let me tell you, man, you just made yourself look like a fool.
I'm certified. I am not a fool.
I'm certified, and you don't have an Excedra in yours.
Oh, fuck.
So, yeah, no, I write with a feather pen. I wear silk slippers. I have a lute. I carry a lute with me through the airport, and I love to write my songs and haikus in this fucking stupid notebook. But I do want to show you guys something cool. Oh, I hope I didn't. Oh, yeah. My brother-in-law got me a really cool. I'll show you some gifts I got. Wife, Gucci glasses. Feel fancy as fuck. The hat was the last birthday. Over the next few years, I'm going to have a whole thing. Now, look at this. Brother-in-law got me the coolest thing ever. I love tarot decks, and I've got many, but this one is blowing my fucking mind. The Hexen 2.0 Tarot. Have y'all heard of this fucking thing? Amon Hillman. I think I've heard of that doctor before. Thanks, David. This, if y'all heard of this, oh my God, this shit is crazy. So look at this. I knew little bits and pieces of like what this is all based on, but I'll just read the back. I'm still figuring out what this shit is. I've been doing deep dives into all kinds of weird things because of this incredible tarot deck. The Hexen 2.0 Tarot features 78 alchemical drawings that depict the interconnected histories of the computer and the internet, cybernetics and the counterculture, science fiction and scientific projections of the future, government and military research programs, social engineering, and ideas of the control society. These are presented alongside diverse philosophical, literary, and political responses to the advance of technology, including the claims of anarcho-primitivism, techno-Gaianism, and transhumanism. Through representing and re-examining these histories and subjects holistically within an alchemical framework, the Hexen 2.0 Tarot transports us to a hypnotic, whatever. But it is, the art is beautiful. But this is crazy because not only are you getting like a tarot deck, but it is like pretty much a synopsis of like everything I love to talk about. Like here, look, check this one out. That's the Magician. Maybe you can find it, Josh. If you look up Hexen, Hexen Tarot Magician card. Apparently this went out of print and they just put it back in print. My brother-in-law scooped it up for me. Suzanne Treister. Oh yeah, click on that one, the Magician. See if okay, check that out. So it's like modern figures. So Timothy Leary is the Magician. You've got the Amanita mushroom above him. And then, all of these breakdowns of his contributions. Psychologist, futurist, assistant professor at Berkeley, wrote Exopsychology and Understanding of Human Consciousness as a Cycle of Originating and Ending, Outer Space, Psychedelic Drugs, Virtual Reality Systems, Cyberspace, Space Migration, Intelligence Increase, Life Extension. So, like, she's taken all of these popular counterculture figures along with like spooky shit like DARPA and stuff, and then linked them to the tarot system. So it's a brilliant thing because, like, anytime I'm drawing a card, because I'm not an alchemist, usually tarot cards have some kind of alchemical, astrological significance. I don't know that shit. This sort of helps you like loosely zoom in on the idea of the Magician. I think, I don't know if Tim Leary would be my first pick for the Magician, but it's still cool. Click on, let's find a really good one. Click on, oh yeah, the moon. It's right here. One more over. Transhumanism, bioethics, infoethics, nanoethics, neuroethics, roboethics, techno-Gaianism, realism, neurotheology, cryonics, mind uploading, cloning, democratic transhumanism, techno-evolutionary control, post-genderism, futurology, cognitive enhancement, extraplanism, absolutism, biotechnologies, libertarian transhumanism. Just like these breakdowns of all of these topics you've probably heard about. And then that's a rabbit hole, because any one of these, like pull up realism, Raelism, not realism, realism. What the fuck is that?
Like that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Realism, also known as Raelinism. Uh-oh.
I didn't show it.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That is such bad luck.
Didn't show it.
That is such a severe bad luck. You can't win for losing these days. Pull it back up though. We just won't show it. What
All
the
right.
fuck? Like, what are the odds? I pull a tarot card and the hated symbol, now beloved by Kanye West, just happens to be in the Wikipedia. And really, realism teaches that an extraterrestrial species known as the Elohim created humanity using their advanced technology. An atheistic religion holds that the Elohim have historically been mistaken for gods. It claims that throughout history, the Elohim have created 40 Elohim human hybrids who have served as prophets, preparing humanity for news about their origins. Among them are the Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, and with Rael himself, the 40th and final prophet. It's crazy how, like, you just can't let there be other prophets, can you? You know what I mean? Like, you just got to be like, no, this is it. Rael first published his claims to have been contacted by the Elohim in 1974. Scroll down a little bit. What's the philosophy? Pulling down here. Wow, it's big. Raelism is among the largest UFO religions in existence. And in the mid-2000s, the scholar of religion Andreas Grunschlaub, definitely certified, called it one of the most consolidated UFO groups internationally active today. In its belief, Raelism differs from many other UFO-based philosophies, with the scholar of religion James R. Lewis terming it the most thoroughly secular of all UFO religions. Cool. Anyway, that's just like one little word on these cards. They lead to really cool, interesting rabbit holes, and the art is just beautiful. So, and I think you can still get them. Let's check out one more card, the Devil. Oh, yeah. See what the breakdown of the Devil is here. Pull up the Devil card. Death. That one, the Pyramid. The Control Society. The one hand, the exploration of the individual's ethical position within the collective activity of scientific modeling could point outside the instrumental logic of the world laboratory and beyond the notion of experimental epistemology toward an ecological understanding of the interdependency of living beings. On the other hand, it could lead to an infinite multiplication of clearly circumscribed and incommensurable world models open to manipulation by anyone with a superior understanding of the modeling process and its effects on the lives of those who engage in it. This would be the path that was massively taken by the entrepreneurial cultures of the new economy, giving rise to the highly sophisticated, productive devices of the control society, in which most forms of artistic creativity are now caught and instrumentalized for financial, ideological, and military purposes. Wow. Whoa, what's wrong with that?
Who's Brian Holmes?
He sounds like a bitch. I don't want. This is the you're going to run into stuff you disagree with, but it's like, what? You don't want art to be institutionalized and controlled by power structures? I mean, like, what do you want? You want uncertified artists out there finger painting their bullshit, painting with their poop, out there making snow angels in confetti. No, I want my art certified. I want my artist certified. And also I want safe art. I want safe art, and I'm sure everyone here agrees with that. I don't want to go to an art museum and there's some uncertified piece of shit who's thrown something up there. It's like, I'm going to challenge everything you think about the world. Like, no. It took me a long time to get completely calcified. And when my pineal gland was uncalcified, I was having wet dreams every night. And,
Ooh.
and that sounds great, but it's you know, eventually you want to wake up and you're not sticky with your own jizz. And, it wasn't just that. I was astrally projecting. I would have these sudden moments of like intense feelings of connection with nature. So I would go, this actually happened to me on a hike. I was on a hike and like I had this terrible, it was just, I can't explain it. I saw a tree and I thought that's actually a living being that's like much older than me and its roots are deep in the earth. And I feel like it has its own kind of sentience. And then that thought led me to feeling like, my God, it feels like I should respect that being. It's like most people don't even look at it as that. I just see it as like a pre-table. That's what I used to call trees, pre-tables. And um, and then I had this overwhelming sense of like compassion for trees. So wet dreams every night, compassion for trees. Uh, I was really into like bells, and I love the sound of bells. I put a bird feeder in my yard because I thought, why not help? I mean, why do we only just help people more than anything? And then the other stupid thing I did, I don't know. I would just like freely do stuff for people. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't. I started not expecting things in return for stuff, and then so I go to the doctor. And I explain these symptoms, and the doctor is like, "Dude, you're like, let me do a scan." They did a scan, and my pineal gland was completely uncalcified. So just basically like walking around glass in bare feet is how he described it. Like if your pineal gland isn't crusted over right now, you might as well just shove your cock in a blender.
Yeah. I saw my doctor prescribe 4 Diet Cokes a day.
Yeah, he started me on that.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Look, we're just gonna start you on Diet Cokes, and the wet dreams and the astral projection did go away, but I was still feeling this terrible, you know what I mean? It was really bad because like it was getting hard for me to say like there's a clear cut bad guy, good guy in the world. You know what I mean? I was starting to see that we live in a world of nuance and you know, maybe like this maybe most people just want to be happy. I remember saying that to my wife. And she's like, "You gotta go back to the doctor. What does that mean? What are you saying?" So I went back to the doctor and he prescribed fluoride pills to me. Dissolvable fluoride pills, which I started putting in the Diet Cokes, and then now I'm fine.
Um, Perk124 says, "Can you help me astral project? Can you help me with astral projection? I love lucid dreaming. Thank you for everything that you do for us."
Um, Astral projection. That's a great question, Perk. Thank you for the donation. Do me a favor, Josh. Pull up Robert Monroe's Journey Out of the Body. And again, like if you've already committed to calcifying your pineal gland, this probably is not going to work for you. And I feel so happy I don't do this shit anymore because it's not fun. That's a great place to start. Click on that, the Monroe Institute. Um, that book was my first introduction to this shit. My mom had it, and um, so this guy just starts, you know, experimenting with astral projection and comes up with a system to do that. Now, uh, go to the store, click on the store. So, like, the Monroe Institute's been around forever. I never, um, I never took any of these classes. So if you do this, don't get mad at me. Um, yeah, click on by location. Let's play a sample. 36 minutes.
Let me turn on. Give me one sec.
I have no idea what this is. It's just oh, there we go.
It's a soundtrack?
Well, they use binaural music. Like the theory behind it is something to do with like creating different resonance or some. Turn it off. Turn it off. I'm gonna come out of my body. They do. They create. Did you feel yourself come out of your body for a second?
I felt my pineal
Tremble.
gland. Yeah, a little bit.
It's once you calcify your pineal gland, it's like, and you start fucking around with stuff like this, it does not feel good. The pineal gland has erectile tissue in it, and this stuff gets hard. So it's like having a chastity cage on your pineal gland, and then it starts, and then you're getting edged by this stuff, and then it hurts, gives you a headache. But this, uh, this book, so my mom had a tape that was an astral projection self hypnosis tape. And I'd been reading the book. I was interested in this stuff. I started listening to this tape every night before I went to bed. Like most things that I get in trouble with, I didn't really believe it, but you know, you want it to be true. And yeah, I just woke up. I woke up, thought I heard people. I was skipping school, thought I heard people downstairs. And then I'm like, my ceiling fan is in my face. And I thought I was having an acid flashback. It was terrifying. That's the main thing. When Monroe's describing, he does talk about this a little bit, but uh, it was it was awful. Like it did. All of like what I was hoping for, like you know, the adventure of being able to sort of fly through walls or whatever was replaced by a eldritch presence in the room, a feeling of darkness, a feeling of ominousness, a feeling of invasion, and it scared the shit out of me. And then, you know, I look down and I can see myself sleeping, and then it wasn't like you could just, you know, swim or something. It was completely alien. And then it's like I went through my body and opened my eyes. I was in bed and was like, oh my God, that was got those hypnosis tapes. I guess they work. And then I had a few more after that. And most of the time they're fairly unpleasant, but there are similarities in the precursor state. And Monroe talks about this, which is you get a weird vibration in your body. It's essentially like I think it's some way of inducing sleep paralysis. Like if you've ever woken up and you can't move, that's that's a perfect condition to astrally project and then or lucid dream. Maybe there's no difference. I don't know. But um the techniques seem to all have something to do with like inducing sleep paralysis, either by like the tape I was listening to is just, you know, relaxation. Um, and I could never like listen to the tape and then like come out of my body. I would always fall asleep and they'd happen. But the other techniques I'm sure most of you have heard involve, you know, on your phone every hour or every 30 minutes. It's super annoying, but I could see why this would work. Set an alarm for every 30 minutes while you're awake. And when the alarm goes off, look at it and look around and ask yourself if you're in a dream. You do this for enough days in a row, you're going to have a sense of that alarm in a dream. And then you're going to be like, wait, what the fuck? I'm in a dream, which I think if you can shift out of that without waking yourself all the way up, you're going to be in the perfect condition to astrally project because you'll have sleep paralysis, which is what sleepwalkers don't have, apparently. Did you know that?
They don't remember any of it.
No, sleepwalkers, apparently, whatever your brain squirts out to keep you from moving when you dream, they don't have that. That's why they like get into trouble. That's why they have to put themselves in sleeping bags and shit because their brain doesn't paralyze them. They still dream, but they're not paralyzed. And so this shit seems to be based around that. Now, if you want to take it deeper, my friends, look up the Tibetan yoga of dreaming and sleep. I've had him on the podcast.
This gentleman?
Yeah. Now this turns the whole thing on its head. So this is sort of a way of not, lucid dreaming. This is a way of falling asleep so that you don't dream and you meditate all night. And there's a way to do that. And also it's a way of looking like, a system of asking yourself, not am I dreaming so that you can wake up in a dream, but rather what is the difference between this and dreaming? And the premise being it kind of is also a dream. And so it's more about like lucid dreaming, but while you're in the long dream, which we call reality. And it's really good. But it definitely uh it's one of those books that gives you the same kind of feeling you get when you're reading like Terrence McKenna. You feel like you're tripping because the way that he's inviting you to explore reality and maybe start noticing how things are maybe a little more fluid and less solid than you would like to think is like most tantric teachers, like he's really good at doing that. And not because he wants to like freak you out, but he wants to help you feel a little less serious and trapped in your waking reality. And you hear this all the time, which is like, in a dream, it's the best thing. Like, have you ever had a dream where you like, I've had dreams where like I'm in a car accident
Mhm.
and it's my fault. And then you're like, oh my God, my life is ruined. And then you realize, wait, I'm going to wake up. This is a dream. And then you open your eyes. But that feeling of relief when you realize you're dreaming. Well, the premise here is like there's a way of looking at this dream that we're in right now in the exact same way, and that enlightenment is like maybe or actualization or the end of suffering revolves around realizing this is also a dream, and that not in some kind of philosophical intellectual way, but in like actually via certain exercises recognizing like no, this is a dream too. And you don't have to be walking around like you just ran over a bunch of babies in front of a petting zoo.
I did the alarm thing, but different way. In dreams, I'd go, "I'm Batman," and then I'd become Batman. I'm like, I know I'm dreaming,
Are
but
you joking? Is that
no,
true?
and I would say it all day, like at least 8, 9 times a day. I just whisper to myself, "I'm Batman,"
Are you fucking kidding
but then
me?
I don't turn into Batman, so I know I'm not dreaming. Try it; it works.
I mean, I don't want to get Batman nerd on you here, but I mean, isn't the idea Batman? You could be Batman. It doesn't like.
Yeah, but in your dream, you have the muscles and the money. I don't have the muscles and the money here.
Well, I don't think aren't there. Let's look up different versions of Batman. I don't mean to be like this guy. I'm sorry, I'm doing it though. Is Batman always ripped?
Yeah,
There isn't like a fat Batman.
there's a
Fat
older,
man.
there's an old Batman, and he is actually way more built. He's bigger. Here's a good picture of most of them.
So
Oh,
they
here we
don't
go.
do that. They don't do the Spider-Man multiverse shit. He's always fucking ripped.
He's
Look at that.
he's always a rich white dude.
Yeah, Batman is kind of like, isn't Batman sort of fascist? Like that was my like when you watch the Batman movies, like isn't it like
Yeah, after
is
Clooney, he became fascist.
but he was always kind of fascist
Yes.
because he colludes with like the police. Like
Hmm. Ben Affleck was the most fascist out of all the Batmans.
he was the most fascist Batman.
Hmm.
He was. They were all fucked up. They're all fucking serious, rich, like embarrassing, serious, rich, self-serious dudes.
Clooney wasn't that serious. He had nipples on his costume, so he was the one Batman with nipples.
But there's no way you could be like like it is like he is kind of a when you really look at it, Batman is an oligarch. Let's see what the chat's saying. I'm sure everybody agrees with me.
Oh, apparently there are a few black Batmans. Did not know that.
You motherfucker. You're gonna get us taken off of here.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Aura Bless. One person who agreed with me. Batman is fascist. Jamie Scott wants to call it Ben Affleck, not your self-ban for 3 minutes. Please do not, no one else say anything making fun of Ben Affleck's name. That is completely inappropriate. Self-ban, 3 minutes. Can't believe you'd say that. I mean, really?
I gotta look that up if there was a black Batman. I've never heard of that.
There must have been.
Yeah, Stan Lee created the first black Batman.
Oscar-winning screenwriter John Ridley has hinted that Batman in his upcoming miniseries will be a person of color, offering greater diversity in the DC Comics universe. Long before Ridley's project was a reality, however, Marvel Comics writer Stan Lee actually created the first African-American Batman for DC Comics. Oh, man. I can't wait for that.
Wow, except this Batman was in prison.
Black Batman was in prison?
Yeah.
There a Black Spider? Was there a Black Hulk?
Yeah, Tyrone Cash.
Pull it up. Pull up the Wikipedia. Tyrone Cash?
Actual name, Leonard Williams.
Leonard Williams was a professor at Cambridge University who worked with the young Bruce Banner to recreate the super soldier serum. So, okay. So Leonard Williams, when he turns into fucking Hulk, his name is Tyrone Cash.
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious, man?
So Wikipedia says. I mean, this was a long time ago. This was
Pull up
2010.
Created by Mark Miller and Linnell Francis. You pull up Mark Millar. Pull up Mark Miller.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a surprise because I kind of thought he'd be a black dude. Go back. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? I can't believe they did that. God damn it. Come on. Like, really? A Cambridge dude, when he turns into Hulk, you're going to turn his name into Tyrone Cash?
It's a name you remember, though. Oh, you got a super chat.
Jesus Christ. Thank you so much.
What are your thoughts on Buddhism, and do you know about the yogis?
You mean like Milarepa or something like that? I'm not sure what you mean about the yogis. A little bit. I love Buddhism. I mean, I have a million thoughts on Buddhism. Perk124. Thank you for the donation. I think it's an incredible. Are we dead?
I don't know. I'm about to find out right now. Reload. Close. Can stream software preview. Still going.
Did we go down? Can you see us?
No, it says no data right now. Why did it do that?
Check your cord.
Cord's in. I took it out. Close. Reconnect. I think it's back. Yeah, you're back.
We're back.
There we go. All right, can you guys
Sorry
see
about
it?
that, y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on and on about Buddhism. I'm sure people here know that and would be like, please don't get him on a Buddhist rant. But I love it. I think it's incredible. It's amazing. I mean, it's definitely something worth exploring. Anyone out there should look into it if you're even slightly interested.
Wow, $20 one.
Jesus, Jake, what are you doing here, man? Come on. The more aware in the dream I am, it causes a kind of reverb that breaks the dream into a wildly different experience. Do you have any experiences like this? I think I've ended up in genuinely endogenous psychedelic trips. You know, I do think that Terrence McKenna talks about this too, but after I smoked MEO DMT, like a few weeks after that, I in a dream had the exact experience. Like there was some residual MEO DMT floating around or something, but in the dream, it happened again, like kind of like a DMT flashback in the dream. And from what I've read, and I've read very little about shamans and stuff, they don't they get to the point where they can apparently induce those experiences minus the specific psychedelic. The psychedelic is just sort of a training wheels for like, this is one of the things your brain does. This is one of the things your brain does. And they can just do that minus the psychedelic. But, and you hear similar things about, meditation, yoga, holotropic breathing. One of my friends who is a psychonaut, like says his most powerful trip was from holotropic breathing. So, there's definitely, if our brains can dream, you don't have to like take 100 micrograms of dream powder before you go to bed. You just go to bed, you close your eyes and breathe deeply. And then all of a sudden you have these vivid hallucinations for 6 hours that you think are real. So if our brains can do that, theoretically, they do just about anything.
Justin Color.
Justin Color. Oh my God. You should not, please, you got to reverse the donation. I love that shirt so much. And can you pull up Justin Color, please? This shit is insane, y'all. I watch your YouTube clips sometimes. Look at this. I mean, this is insane. Thanks for being here. I can't believe you're here. This guy, I don't think
welcome to another.
Not him.
That's not him. Look up. No, look, you know what? Go back to the chat. Give us a social where we could show people your work. Oh yeah, go to channel. It's right there. Duh.
Click on this one.
Yeah. He makes the coolest shirts, y'all. Roll it around. I don't know where it is. I think it's Insta is what I've watched more than this, though. Oh my God, look at that. How do you do that? How do you do that? Hi. Thank you. I wear this shirt all the time. And but because of that shirt, I actually, at one point, because I was just sort of thinking, like, how the fuck do you do this with tie-dye? And then I, stumbled upon this, like, you making stuff, and it's the most insane. Where'd you learn to do that? It just seems impossible. I don't understand it at all. Like, it just blows my mind that people are able to think it's like being able to think fifth dimensionally or something.
Jacob says it's a lot of folding and dyeing, right?
It just is like, it's the rubber band thing and honestly, to be honest, everybody, I'm sorry, Justin Color, I don't mean to do this, but I do not know if you're certified. Ooh, you do bring up something important. Yikes. 'Cause I've been wearing the shirt. Shit. Justin Color, I don't mean to put you in a weird position here, and it's fine if you're not certified, but do you have you been approved to do tie-dyes? Are you certified?
I don't know if he saw the certification. You want me to show him?
Yeah. Were you here when we showed you our certifications? Hold it up. See, I have a certificate of expertise. Are you certified, Justin Color? Kind of getting some radio silence on that, huh? Don't be ashamed. It's okay. A lot of people doing tie-dyes haven't been certified.
It's only $500.
He is. Of course it has tie-dye on it. Of course. Yes. I almost had an anxiety attack because I've been wearing that shirt. I wear it all the time. My wife makes fun of me. Fucking hippie. What are you doing with that thing on again? Gabriel Wonder wants to know if someone can pay to become uncertified. Now, this is a really good question. Now, Gabriel, here's the reality. the answer is no. Once certified, you're eternally certified. There's no way out. You will never be uncertified. You can burn the certificate. God damn it. You could burn the certificate. You can whatever you want to do, but it's marked on the flesh of God forever, to quote Abraham Lincoln. You will never get uncertified. So no. And please self-ban for 2 minutes.
What if you're a baby and you get a certified branding, and later when you become,
Josh, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to ever hear you talk about branding babies again.
Oh, okay.
It is, and I do not mean to seem insensitive. I know that is part of the religion that you're in, as you've explained it to me. And but honestly, I think that, burning babies is really fucked up.
But they're little. See, they're tiny. And you just...
No, I think, this is why we circumcise. Branding a baby is fucking terrible. Just snip snip that thing. That's what we do. We do not brand. We snip.
People want to know Bob wants to know what rogue is.
Oh, Bob Francis. This is my go-to pouch, Renegade Rogue. Now, I'm glad you brought this up. First, let me just say this is not a sponsor. Let me show you something. I don't know what pouch you might do, but let me show you something. Pull this out here. Now, this is Tucker Carlson's brand, Alp. And I'm going to do a little comparison here.
Should have called it Tuck. Did you do your Tuck one there?
Why did he call it Tuck? Alp. I get it. It's he doesn't want to be associated with it. He's a controversial figure. But so here you have a typical Alp, all right? That's an Alp. And then let me show you. Now this is a Renegade Rogue.
Oh, some girth on that
pouch. Got girth. This is a man's pouch. No offense, Tucker. I like your Alps, but I want a fucking teabag in my lips. And that's what this is. You just shove this baby in, you can kind of chew on it. The Alp will fall apart. The Rogue, if you're neurotic and nervous like I am, you can like nervously chew on it. So they're really good. And this is 3 milligram Rogue, because the 6s are hard to find. These sell out everywhere. They're very hard to find. So
I don't know how to say that name, but they asked you a question.
Kitso. I was always curious about episode 6 in the Midnight Gospel, the wobble song, the different colors, and the wobble itself had a meaning. My feeling with the Midnight Gospel, what I decided is I was going to let everyone decide what it means on their own, though I do have very specific. I will say this, nothing in there is accidental. Nothing in there is just we'll just do some weird stuff. Everything has a reason and a meaning to it, or most everything. I'm sure there's something in there that maybe is like chaos, but everything has a meaning. But I don't want, if I say what that meaning is, then I steal what other people have decided it means for their own lives, and that's kind of a shitty thing to do. Thanks for your donation.
Rick has a question.
Ooh, I'm glad you asked, Rick. The answer is hell no. I'm not ordering a Switch. I thought about it because I love Hollow Knight, and the Switch has Silk Song is coming out. But okay, this is probably the end of my podcasting life, but I'm just gonna say it. Not a fan of Nintendo games. Like Zelda, I played Breath of the Wild. When I was a kid, Metroid, Castlevania, is that Nintendo? But I'm sorry, man. I gave it a shot. I don't want to be stuck. Like, at least with like PlayStation, you're gonna get some PC games end up coming there, but on Switch, it's just like, you're so limited. I like it for kids. I think Switch is great for kids. Like, I think PlayStation has done a pretty shitty job of having a nice library of stuff that's not going to freak kids out. But what I did order, and it is because of the release of the Switch, and who knows, maybe I'll change my opinion. What I did order was a Steam Deck. Oh my God. That is incredible, because there's always games I can't play when I go on Steam. and it's so infuriating because I have a Mac and a PlayStation, and there's some games that just land right in the fucking middle there. And the darkest games, the weirdest games, the creepiest games are all gonna be on PC, and you can't get them. And so I realized, like, yeah, I do like, sometimes on the road, I'm bored, it'd be nice to, I don't know, have something to fidget around with, but I don't wanna pull my fucking Switch out on an airplane, you know what I mean? It just makes you f I don't know. Seems like a Zen man would pull out a Switch, whereas a Rogue man pulls out a Steam Deck. But I it's incredible. Like, it is incredible. If you're like me and you're just sort of like a lazy gamer, you don't wanna set up a PC, you don't wanna deal with the installation of God knows what, you don't have to deal with getting, like, all the shit that can go into a PC, you just wanna play games, it's incredible. Just connects to your Steam and you download a game like the PlayStation, it looks fucking great. Too small, though, I wish it was bigger, but what are you gonna do? Can't have your cake and eat it too.
Nicandro
Jeez, y'all,
Martinez.
come on! Thank you. Duncan, if you could choose which addiction to have, which would it be? Gambling, porn, or definitely video games for sure, Nicandro, for sure. Definitely video games. Because, like, here's why. Let me break it down. Gambling, fuck that. That's the algorithm started serving up gambling addict videos, and it's the saddest shit you've ever seen. This guy, what did he call it? Ghetto loan or something, or I can't remember what he called it, but essentially, there's he's a compulsive gambler, lost all his money in the casinos. So what does he do? He goes and uses his credit card to buy an expensive iPad, takes the iPad to a pawn shop. So now he's in credit card debt, but he can't get cash on the credit card, but he can get cash for the iPad from a pawn shop. And I think they gave him like $300 for it. It was like a $1,200 iPad. They gave him $300. And he goes into the casino and just immediately loses it in like 6 minutes. So depressing. So now he's just in credit card debt. So that sucks. Porn addiction, I think it's how long can you jerk off for, you know?
28 minutes.
You've jerked off for 28 minutes?
Max.
Does that include finding the porn you're jerking off to?
No, that's all strokes. 28 minutes of pure strokes.
Is that because you do JOI videos? Like, is that why?
It buffers a lot. I wait.
You know you ever do those, the metronome?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it.
Deep, 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 stop. So weird. It's like a Dance Dance Revolution, but for jerking off. Also, I think video games versus porn, no offense to my gooners out there, or gambling, like video games, you are participating in art. Like that's real art in some of these games. It's like some of these indie games, they'll like hit you really hard sometimes with like some crazy way of exploring concepts that you hadn't ever thought of, but it's in video game form. So I like the Trojan horse element to video games where if you have misconceptions about what they are, not to say there aren't video games that are just dumb as fuck and fun. Some games, they will give you a real mood that to me is a distant relative of like reading a really good book where you feel so immersed in the story. Or almost the best video games like Elden Ring, to me, it's like I know it's obviously not a parallel universe, but it doesn't feel that far away from it. And considering where technology is going, I don't think it's insane to imagine that any video game is going to be like is going to be taken by an AI and theoretically in some kind of Rocco's basilisk Black Mirror kind of way is almost like a seed for a parallel universe once we have the compute and the uh, immersive technology necessary to simulate realities based on whatever's out there. So what I'm saying is the Elden Ring universe that we've all experienced, I don't see why in 20 years you're not going to be able to visit it and like smell Radon or his asshole.
Serrated Edge had a good point. They said 90% of gambling addicts quit before they hit it big.
I know that is, I actually know that's true. I know that's true. I'm not trying to get you guys to give up. You're probably right when you really feel like you're about to like stop, is you're just one button push away from living your dreams. Thank you for saying that. Didn't mean to seem cynical. I'm reading your comments now, friends. We are running out of time. I'm happy that this didn't. Serrated Edge says play Escape from Tarkov. Power Wash Simulator has caught my eye many times. Escape from Tarkov seems cool. I'm playing Hades too because I was into the original Hades. I started that last night just to test out the Steam Deck, and it's so good. You know what I did find out? I'm glad you brought up Boards of Canada. Wait, no, I was thinking of Montreal, actually, different Canadian band. Maybe it was him. Ooh, okay, this is a good question. Enrique Nunez wants me to talk about my experience at Meowolf. It was amazing. We did our simulator update patch at Meowolf in Denver, and it was so cool. And thank you, everyone who came. Also, Jesus, if you guys are around Denver, you got to go to that Meowolf. It is so cool, and everyone who works there is so fucking cool, and they have their shit together because the stuff I needed to do that show is insane. I needed a griddle, I needed eggs, I needed like a choir, and they not only did they get everything I asked for, which I couldn't believe, and I kept saying like, you guys don't have to do this. I'm just gonna ask for anything that what I would like to have, and they were just like, yeah, sure, no problem. We can get you a choir, drag queen, a spiritual drag queen, no problem. We can do that. Like, no, just like everything that you need, they just did it. And Brandon, who I think I'm gonna have on the podcast, who runs I Am the Portal, or Portal is the name of the foundation, everything was awesome. It made me so happy to do that. And I got to meet a lot of people and hang out with people that I'd heard about, and it was really cool. Everybody listening, by the way, I apologize if you feel left out. My audio listeners, you can go on YouTube and you can find this, the video of this, see what the fuck we're yapping about. I do mean that we will have we will do certifications. I just have to work out the website. So I will get you certified. Don't worry. And Perk 124 has left us with a wonderful question. Please enlighten us with wisdom on our internal dialogue. This quality of mind is inevitably fascinating in that there appears to be some aspect of identity that we call thoughts or internal dialogue. And the thinking process is so curious. In that we take our thoughts very seriously. And people get very nervous about things they think. So this is intrusive thoughts. OCD people have to deal with this shit, which is every once in a while, your mind decides to shotgun blast you with some of the most unsavory, disgusting, horrifying thing ever. And you recoil because you can't imagine that came out of you. I have said this before. I think of it as flatulence, biochemical flatulence. When you have a particularly odoriferous, is that even a word? Odoriferous? Should be. Odorous blast of flatulence. Like a burner. One that happens too fast. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to get detailed here to get to the point, but you know, when your asshole turns into, ISIS out of the blue. Like you hadn't even eaten anything weird. It's like it is like a sleeper cell. It has been in your ass just waiting until it got activated, and then suddenly it just happens, and it's quick. You feel it, and then you smell it too fast, and it burns your nose and your eyes. I mean, these are like you get a few of these in a lifetime if you're lucky. People around you groan. And, like, you can't even hide it because it's that potent and pungent. You haven't shit your pants, it's something worse than that, like, it's spectral. It's like it's a phantom. And you land in that moment on a planetary level, you're, like, in the top 50 worst farts on the planet that day. And it's insane that your body made that smell, and then you forget about it. You don't torture yourself over that. You know, your friends might mention it from time to time. Happened at when I was in high school at my friend's house. Came out of nowhere. It inundated the whole house instantly. It's crazy, like tear gas or something. Just the whole house just I mean, we're talking like faster than the speed of light. Like, and I can't prove that this fart broke a law of physics, but I think it did. I think we're talking quantum entanglement, or it was entangled with some other hyperdimensional fart in another part of the universe, and it just resonated together. They amplified each other. And my friend's mother, who was upstairs, within moments of this coming out of me, I heard her go, "Oh my God! Oh God!" It was a shriek. It was the sorrow that you would hear in a war zone. And she ran down the stairs and she's like, you need to go to a doctor. Like, that is bad. And, of course, we were like, I mean, that's like the best thing that can happen when you're in high school is your fart is so vile. Like your friend's mom wakes up from a nap or whatever and says you need to go to the hospital. I still think about it sometimes, but my point is we just laughed and that's it. Whereas the mind concocts this or that, and you begin to think that you are bad. You're a bad person because we take our thoughts more seriously than we take our farts. And this is where meditation is very useful, and in that you gain a kind of familiarity with your thoughts, and you begin to realize that your mind is always producing all kinds of disparate thoughts. Some of them horrible, some of them maybe brilliant, some of them funny, some of them boring, some of them repetitive. But you begin to see that whatever is happening up here isn't as cohesive, connected as you thought it was, organized. It doesn't seem quite as organized as you thought, but it's more like some kind of like rain, a little pitter patter of thoughts. And so that's a really good thing, because if you're not aware of that and you think you are your thoughts, or you think your thoughts are more important than they are, then you start reacting to the thoughts. And that's where you get into trouble. Paranoia ensues, guilt, shame. You think, oh my God, if I thought about murdering somebody, aren't I basically a murderer? No, it's just some vile shit that popped out of your brain. Now, you know, if you are having looping, disturbing thoughts, uh, I'm not saying that doesn't mean that it's like John Wayne Gacy's basement. Like there's something buried under there. It's where therapy comes in. There, you might have something that you need to take a look at, but maybe not. It's the OCD hyper repetitive thoughts that torment people. And for me, when that becomes your identity, you start thinking that's who you are. It's like being trapped in a room with like a cassette tape of a recording of Casey Kasem on the radio and just listening to it for 5 years straight. Eventually, that's just you're gonna not want to merge with it, but you feel like that's you. So The first step, though, is just getting familiarity with all the other thoughts you're having, because you're having way more thoughts than you're probably noticing. And it's not like we remember everything we think. We don't remember everything we say. We definitely don't remember everything we think. So Jack Kornfield says the mind creates thoughts the way the tongue salivates. And so um, the invitation in like mindfulness training or Buddhism is not therefore to ignore the thoughts. It's actually to not be afraid of the thoughts, to create a space within which they can come and go. And the best description of this attitude is like inviting people into a party. Like people come in the party, you just say, hi, come on in. That's it. There doesn't have to be, I've heard other versions of this, which is like invited in for tea or whatever, but that implies more of a relationship with the thing than is necessary. So that, because it's the attachment to these individual thoughts that create a kind of telescoping fractal of neurosis, which is one thought is a hyperlink that leads to a whole web page of self-hating thoughts. And then you click on one of those hyperlinks in there, and the Sharon Salzberg calls these add-ons. You look in the mirror and you think, wow, it looks like on my vacation, I've gained some weight. Totally normal, whatever. But it doesn't stop there. You look at that and you think, what's wrong with me? I'm ugly. Then you think, no one's going to love me. I'll be lonely forever if I'm like this. Why can't I control myself? Then you think, my mom tried to help me, but she didn't. And I didn't listen to her and I'm bad. And now she's dead. And then you think, I wonder if she's in hell. And then you think, I wonder if I could if hell's really in the center of the earth, if there would be a way to like break people out of hell. Like, could you drill down there? And then you think, my God, is that what Elon Musk is doing with that boring machine? Is he trying to get like a relative out of hell? And then you think, fuck, that'd be a good screenplay. I gotta write that down. Like some kind of cool, new, like, I don't know, Mad Max meets Journey to the Center of the fucking Earth, where some guy goes into the center of the earth to save his grandfather because he knows he's in hell, has to fight the devil. And then you think, God, I'm never going to make that. I never finish anything I do. Then you think, oh, I'm a failure. That's my mom's fault. She was such a bitch or whatever. And then it just goes on and on and on. So familiarity with the thinking process leads to not the end of thinking, but less of it's the difference between riding a horse and I've got to go, but this is from The Way of the Bodhisattva. The untrained mind is like a wild elephant. And so, just think of a wild elephant rampaging around your head. That's what happens if you haven't taken the time to sit with your thoughts and get familiar with them so that they seem less severe. Thank you for the question. Thank you for all the donations. If you want commercial free, what?
Real quick, they want to know what the screwdriver was for.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God damn it. Look, I don't mean to end on this negative fucking thing, but there's a GIMP, my GIMP. So, my GIMP, I've been going on the road a lot. And my GIMP is like getting all like is being a bitch and is like being all resentful. And you guys know what that's like when you have a resentful GIMP. And like I've been trying to do tough love and stuff and it's not working. And I basically, I feel like I wish you hadn't asked me that. I feel like I'm setting a bad example here because, many of you came here because, all right, this sucks. Many of you came here because of my book. Training the American GIMP. And in it, I sort of propose a more tough love thing, and don't let your gimp manipulate you, because if you do, um, it's never going to end. Which is why we do sleep training with our gimps, and when the gimp is banging on the wall under the stairs, we don't go to that. We go once, and that's it. And but yeah, I brought my gimp here, and he knows we're talking. Shut up! Shut up! Shut the fuck up! Stop! 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 Shut up! Shut up! No! 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 I told you to be quiet. This is my job. Stop! Stop! This is where you get your jam. This is where we get mashed potatoes for you. Stop! This is how I get your leather clean. Stop! All right, I gotta get out of here. I gotta take care of this. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. You are the best. I love you. I'll be back next week. Oh, I don't know when this comes out, but if you're listening to this on the week of April 23rd, come see me in Seattle at the Emerald City Comedy Club. Subscribe. You'll get commercial-free episodes of this. We will re-upload this. Thank you to all the people who donated money during this. Jesus Christ. Thank you for all your great questions. Please don't let what just happened dissuade you. If you are interested in, modern techniques of gimp wrangling, much of what's in my book. Yeah, sometimes I don't walk the walk, but much of what's in my book, if you have an unruly gimp, will for sure, at the very least, keep them out of your septic tank, which is where they go when they run amok. Thank you. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.